This episode is sponsored by Postalitics. If you're doing any type of marketing for your startup today, you're probably missing out on one of the most underrated marketing channels there is to grow your business, direct mail marketing. Finding ways to stand out and get attention for your prospects has never been harder. Business people receive over 120 emails per day. The average Gmail account contains over 8,000 messages. With Postalitics, start standing out by delivering personalized messages directly into the hands of your audience to form a deeper impression than email alone. The best part is you can integrate with your CRM to track, trace, and measure the impact of every dollar you spend. So whether you're an agency or startup founder and looking to build out your next direct mail marketing campaign, visit Postalitics.com for a free account and start sending direct mail today. If you'd like to sponsor the SaaS District podcast or recommend any guests that you think would be valuable to be on the show, visit horizoncapital.com/SaaS-podcast today. Thanks again, folks. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Akil Jabbar, and welcome back to another episode of SaaS District. In today's episode, we'll be talking about how AI is transforming the website building industry. Today, we have our guest, Tigran Nazaryan, joining us. Tigran is an entrepreneur, as well as a doctor in philosophy on astronomy and astrophysics. Recently, Tigran took up the CEO and co-founder position at 10Web, an automated WordPress platform for building websites with AI and super fast hosting, where he's in charge of leading a team of over 70 professionals. As the CEO, he aims at building a strong company culture that allows for a successful transition of great ideas into powerful technological achievements. So welcome, Tigran. Super excited to have you on SaaS District Show today.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Akil. My pleasure.
Awesome. So I have to ask the question, how did you make that transition? What was it like going from, doctor in, and then making that transition from academia for industry specializing to WordPress and web development to now entrepreneur. How did you make that transition there? What was the story?
It came naturally, actually, but quite suddenly. I mean, I was doing my PhD. I did it, and with friends, we co-founded a company doing WordPress plugin business. And at some point, I just decided to stay focused on one of these possible paths, and I chose industry over academy. And I don't regret for that. And I know there are a lot of people who leave academy and go to industry, don't feel guilty for that. It's really interesting, and industry technologies are really cool.
So you were kind of were you kind of self-taught how to be, a developer and working in WordPress, or was that, did you go to kind of learn some education around that, more through schooling?
For school, university, I learned programming, but we learned mostly some classical stuff like C, languages like that. But I learned some PHP and WordPress myself. For most of our developers and engineers, we went through that path. Actually, we all learned by ourselves.
Nice. So you didn't actually need to have a actual formal degree in software engineering. And then in 2015, what was the kind of clear opportunity that you saw in the market that you and your co-founder decided to lead and build 10web.io?
Yeah, just one correction. It was in 2017.
2017,
yeah,
okay.
4 years ago. So before that, we were doing plugins business. We were building and selling WordPress plugins with subscription model. But we saw a great opportunity for automation in WordPress industry generally. I mean, for automation of creating websites, automation of optimizing website, automation of all this hosting-related technological stuff. We saw that it takes quite a lot for creating WordPress websites. Although it is easy, but it's not as easy and fast the process for web developers and even professionals. They spend on average 5 weeks creating WordPress website. I mean, from A to Z, from creating to the final launch and some necessary optimization. So we saw great potential here with automation, what we can do to save time and effort of people who are doing WordPress every day, or also people who create website for themselves who are not professional developers, but who know what is WordPress, who work with it, and WordPress allows for such people to create websites. So let's make their experience easier.
And that's when you decided to launch the product. So you're saving them. Look, typically, the standard procedure is 5 weeks to building a website, and then you mentioned on your website you're going to get 90 plus speed in terms of how Google kind of ranks your search speed. You have an AI based web building and optimizations. Why does a business need that automated website, or why would a SaaS founder look to be improving their web page versus using the general WordPress or other platforms? And then second question to that is, how is that going to affect their overall SEO performance if they're using the automated versus the kind of standard way?
Yeah. Perhaps several years ago, it was not so important, but we see now Google takes into account performance of websites when ranking them. So speed of website directly affects on its ranking, SEO, conversion, and effectiveness of ads as well. And especially recently, Google takes into account mobile. I mean, the way the speed website is loaded on mobile devices. So we think that this stuff should be automated. And to be honest, it is technically really challenging, even for average developer to create a really optimized website. And they need to spend a lot of time and check whether everything works well and is not broken, or whether there is some problem. So this is first issue, the first fundamental problem we saw with optimization, how we can automate it. It's super important for all modern websites. Mm-hmm. All should be optimized. And the second problem we saw, it's that people, perhaps 10 years ago, they were coding for websites. With the introduction of CMSs and site builders, now people drag and drop to create layouts, to create whole pages and complete websites. But still, this work is manual work, and it takes a lot of time even to drag and drop and customize. So we see also potential here with automation. And again, this saves time of both developers and non-developer people.
Right. So your one option is to go out and overcome this challenge of optimizing for speed by hiring a developer. What are some other advantages and disadvantages? Let's say when you're using your solution versus what are things you're gonna miss out on if you're using yours versus the standard way of doing it.
Okay. Actually, our solution doesn't replace developer. If person decides to create their website by themselves, it helps them. But if they decide to hire a developer, this solution still can be implemented by a developer. I mean, developers' time is precious. And for web agencies, for marketing agencies, it's super important to know how many websites they can make. Whether they can scale their business. So this is also a tool for scaling agency business. I mean, this is both B2B and B2C product platform. Regarding the advantages and disadvantages, I would say that advantage is WordPress and the fact that we built our platform for WordPress. Right. Like there are many site building platforms like Wix, Webflow, but we haven't created one more Wix. We created our solution for WordPress, and WordPress is really powerful, and its percentage market share is growing. It's not old. It's still cool. So we think the greatest value of our product is that the fact that it is built for WordPress.
Yeah, because I know there's other a lot of no-code automation websites. So you mentioned like Webflow. So you guys are actually building on top of WordPress. How else are you guys going to compare to, or competing with the other no-code platforms such as Webflow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. WordPress competes with them, and we, being a part of WordPress, compete as well. So the beauty of WordPress is it's being open source. Webflow, Wix, and other solutions, they are not open source solutions.
Right.
They are single product. And WordPress being open source, it has a huge ecosystem of plugins, of templates and themes, and millions of people who create all these parts. And this makes it powerful.
Mm. And then would you say your platform, like I'm trying to see who's the right person who'd want to use this versus somebody who already has a team of developers who can go and build it. Would you say it's for a specific segment, size, or profile? Or is this for somebody who's just starting off and building their first website?
Both are okay. Both tech-savvy people who create websites for themselves are our customers or potential customers, as well as people who professionally build websites for their clients. So, and of course, there are different types of websites. 10web is good for many types of websites, including e-commerce sites, blogs, and simple, just several page landing page website.
Got it. So you work for both, B2C, B2B agencies. Right. If I'm looking to use their platform and I want to build a new website, what's your current kind of from onboarding process to building out and launching my new website? And then, how did you guys find your own product market fit with your own platform?
Right. When sign up, we offer customers two opportunities: to create website, and if they already have, to migrate the website. For creation, you can either create blank website, either you can create using the AI, or if you saw some beautiful template from our collection of templates, you can choose that template and make it yours. So this is creation flow, and migration flow is really interesting as well. A lot of people have websites that are hosted on shared hostings. They are cheap hostings, but they are slow and do not perform well. So we offer people just to create a copy of your website on our hosting and just compare speed. Compare page speed score. This is a score by Google, a single score from 0 to 100, which shows how fast your website is. So we guarantee our customers for all websites hosted on our platform to have 90 plus mobile page speed score. So we say just compare your previous score with the score on our platform and decide whether you want to keep your old copy or new copies your live production website. Regarding product to market fit, actually, we went through a long path from doing plugins several years ago to creating hosting and to creating different services for website optimization, for performance, for security, backups, and all these necessary components. And we experimented a lot with data to see what's the most important value or what are the most important core product values are for our customers. And we try to position our product in different ways, like all-in-one solution for creating website, the best hosting and things like that. And we came to the product to market fit with automated WordPress platform with PageSpeed, Google Cloud Hosting, and AI being three core components of our solution.
Nice. And then in terms of, being on WordPress, right? Like you said, they're a growing market. They're a huge platform. They have so many plugins. They have templates. They have tools. And they're constantly updating. You see these updates every single week. They're changing. How are you guys managing to maintain, your AI solution to be able to match up to that, stay up to date and stay relevant and still stay, up to date and compete?
That's a great question. Really, WordPress is changing very fast. It now being transformed to whole site builder with its core vanilla WordPress without plugins, where you can edit different parts of website. So we really try to follow what are the trends of WordPress. It was just blogging platform when it was built more than 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But now it's a full solution for building websites, for different types of websites, and for building them without coding. So we try to follow these trends to see where WordPress is going to, and what's the use by its customers. And we also build our AI builder for Elementor, which is the most popular page builder and site builder plugin for WordPress. So we made the choice, Elementor versus others, and we preferred it. It's really popular, and it's stable, and it's millions of people are using it every day. Yes. And also use large data sets of websites to see how they're built. I mean, what tools are people using for creating websites? And we want to adjust our AI builder to different types of websites. I mean, how it works. So you just input the URL of website. The AI transforms that website or web page into WordPress and into a widget-based layout. So we train it on different types of websites and make it working well for different types of input websites.
Got it. And then, obviously you guys are using AI automation. We understand, super versatile. It's a growing technology. What else is kind of on that product roadmap for 10Web? And are you guys planning to expand, to other platforms, segments, industries, or just kind of make your current solution, bigger?
Well, we built all this solution for WordPress and for Elementor-based page builder plugins. And we don't try to expand it. We want to perfect this. We don't expand it to other site builders or other platforms. We want to perfect it for WordPress. We see the future is with WordPress because it's growing. It's becoming new and fresh from every year. I mean, it's 15-year-old platform, but it's still cool. So we want to improve our AI, the way it creates layouts, the way it is integrated with different types of widgets. I mean, the variety of widgets in final recreated website. And also want to perfect our PageSpeed solution by making it really perfect with all types of web pages and websites.
Got it. And then switching gears, a lot of our founders are looking how to accelerate the growth of their SaaS company, especially if they're in a really saturated market like what you guys are in. Can you share, in terms of marketing growth, what channels, what strategy has worked best for you guys so far?
We experiment with different channels for ads, different socials. For example, for us, YouTube really works well. We see great potential of content creating content in YouTube, educational content to grow the awareness of people, explaining them to the need to optimize websites, to choose a good hosting, and the way it is related with their business. So it worked for us, but of course, you should try to see where are those people using your product. Are they on LinkedIn or are they on Facebook? Word of mouth, it works as well for our product, especially wow effect when people use AI Builder and say, wow, it's magic. How did it build website? So it works as well.
Nice. So YouTube, word of mouth, has worked really well. Anything that you'd say you've tried was I think equally important is what you've tried and failed, and what hasn't worked, and why?
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, fails are usually more interesting than success cases. We had some plugin customers, clients, and people using our plugins, which were our legacy business. So we tried to convert them to the platform. And to some extent it worked, but not the way we expected. I mean, to convert them to hosting and the whole platform instead of just being a user of single plugin, it didn't work well. So there are different types of people. I mean, you should know who is using what product for what purpose, and whether you can offer them additional value and whether they need or not that value. So in case of plugins and our plugin users, it didn't work well. So we couldn't convert much of them to hosting customers.
Interesting. So just that channel specifically, seems like it would be a good fit, right? They're using plugins, they're on WordPress, probably the same target, but for some reason it didn't actually lead to the right conversions of maybe just the stage they're at, or the size of the company, right? Or the industry.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. So obviously you're the CEO of a leading SaaS company, over 70 employees now. Is that right?
Yes, or 70 people.
70 people, obviously super demanding. What kind of skills have you had to develop over these last, few years to be at the height of, meet the challenge you're at? And how do you currently measure your leadership success?
You would agree that the transformation from scientist to engineer to manager and then to CEO it's really challenging. And I would say that learning is super important. And do not say no to the things you don't know and the things that are new for you. I mean, I learned a lot of things and I still continue to learn. And this is super important for especially founders and CEOs.
Right. So it seems like being open-minded and right, communicating it and being open-minded. You don't have to know all the answers all the time.
Exactly. And also feedback is very important. The way measuring success for me, I think it's feedback, not only, in terms of business growth, but also feedback of employees, of customers, of other co-founders as well. They were crucial important for me to grow from developer to CEO.
And then obviously, as a CEO, with the bigger the team gets, you're always being grabbed for, attention from all over the place, right? From the work you need to do, from your team, from, putting out flyers and growth and all that stuff. Do you have any kind of productivity hacks or maybe strategies for maybe new founders in this space who maybe should think about that now and, improve their time management?
Perhaps first thing is just to manage stress. Do not postpone, do not procrastinate. Just do what you should do. First time is hard, second time is easier, and then it becomes a routine. So stick to your schedule, try to focus on the most important things and eliminate what you can delegate, what you can not do, skip, and still it's okay. So, and also communication skill. Perhaps for me, it was really important because I'm introvert. And I guess a lot of people, especially technology people, they are introverts. But being manager and being founder or CEO, it requires communication skills. So you still can be introvert, but you should communicate really well. And this is what I also...
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I'm also an introvert, even though it may not seem like it. But yeah, you have to practice yourself kind of getting out of your shell and making sure you over-communicate, because for others, it might be still not enough. Yeah. Cool. Tigran, want to switch gears, kind of moving towards, the rapid fire questions, a little bit more personal. Starting off with, what's one piece of advice you wish you had known and what you would tell your 25-year-old self?
Oh, I would tell my 25-year-old self to not try to reinvent wheel. And if you fail earlier. That was super important. And for me also, learning. I mean, learning in a sense of reading the classical stuff, the things that founders and CEOs should read. So just do your homework, and the rest will be much easier. A lot of people did some errors, they learned, and they share their experience. So better not to repeat their errors as well.
Exactly why we have this podcast, right? Follow what the tried and trusted, what's already worked. Learn from the experienced people. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, and you'll be a lot ahead than everybody else. Yeah. What are some of the biggest challenges you're currently facing in order to continue grow 10 Web? And meaning what's keeping you up at night these days?
I wouldn't say that any technology problem keeps me up at night, like any website broken or down, any customer website. No, we have no technological problems because we have a really strong team in that sense. But what keeps me challenging, it's the way our business is built. We have both B2B and B2C customers. So whether we should focus on at some point on one of them. And I think for every SaaS business, it's also important decision. Whether you should do that decision earlier or later, it depends on the business. But I guess at some point, perhaps 90% of SaaS businesses do that decision.
Right. Kind of just deciding at what point to focus, where to focus, and make sure that you have enough data to support that before you go the wrong route, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a good point. Who or what are some of the best 3 resources? It can be books, it can be people, mentors, or people you follow, who you say have been the most instrumental to your success over these last few years?
Perhaps I would mention a couple of classical books that all sales should read, like Blue Ocean Strategy by Chang Kim and his quoter, or Lean Startup. These are classic and they are valid, actual, so they are must do. Also, I would mention a person, my co-founder, Artem Minasyan. He's a really talented and unique person. He is like Elon Musk, in what sense? And I learned a lot from him. Like Elon Musk manages both Tesla and SpaceX, and both are successful. So my co-founder Arto is managing and helping with our startup, and there is another startup. It's called Crisp, which is AI noise canceling startup, which is super successful. So it's really interesting to see a person who is running 2 startups really successfully, and he's a real very effective manager, and I learned from him a lot.
Okay, so he's your inspiration, keep you going. You're kind of mentor as well. That's awesome. Yeah. Tigran, what does success mean to you today? Whether that's personally, financially, business, life, there's no right answer.
Yeah, for business success, there are KPIs and numbers. But for personal success, particularly in work, I would say that doing the work I love is measure of success. Because the work what I do is constantly changing. But whether can I keep loving all what I do, it's a measure of success.
Would you say you're doing that right now? Are you working on what you love? Yeah,
exactly. I really love what I do.
Nice. So you're living the dream, living a successful dream. Awesome. Thanks, Tigran. Anything you want to add, for our audience, or any last piece of advice before we close it off?
I would welcome any question, and I would invite our audience to contact me if you are interested by AI, by technologies, and web development is interesting for you. Feel free to chat with me. You can find me at LinkedIn.
Cool. So what would be the best place for founders maybe to get in touch with you or learn more about 10Web?
LinkedIn and Twitter.
LinkedIn and Twitter? Okay, perfect. So we'll add those links to our show notes for people to check out, and they can say hi to you. And thank you for all your help. Thank you, Tigran, for jumping on SaaS District Show today. Really appreciate it. And hope to see you on the next one. All right. Have a good one. Cheers. Thank you all for watching this episode and joining SaaS District today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for future episodes where we interview top leaders in the SaaS industry. If you're a SaaS company looking to grow and unlock the true value of your business, get in touch with us at Horizon Capital, and myself or one of our consultants will provide a free assessment to help you get there and hit your goals. If you have any feedback or suggestions for this podcast, please comment down below and help us improve our content for you all. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.